I want to ask unanimous consent to enter an article into the record. This is from E&E Daily, and the headline is, Army Corps cuts would put boating camping sites at risk. White House fiscal 2023 budget would cut more than $50 million from Army Corps recreation spending. Without I just ask unanimous consent to put that in the record. Assistant Secretary Connor, I bring this up because in the last 2 years, we've seen this incredible surge in visitation to public lands writ large, everything from Army Corps to Forest Service to our national parks. Army Corps actually experienced an additional 20 million visits just last year. So I just want to ask, are these cuts a good idea? It seems to be a particularly unfortunate time to do that.
Senator Heinrich, thank you for raising the issue. I think myself and General Spellman, we've had discussions about that. We certainly understand the value, increasing value of recreation, as you point out. So we've got some work to do with this budget. We're trying to fit in a lot of priorities, but we need to go through and analyze the full range of impacts with respect to potential, reduction of services to the general public, and we don't want that. So with that budget, we're going to try and manage it so that we don't have those impacts. The good news is through IIJ, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, and other mechanisms, we've made some investments in the maintenance of facilities, but we need to operate those facilities. And so we're going to look at the 22 spend plan. We're going to look at other ways that we can ensure we're not reducing services. But it's a concern, and I appreciate you raising it.
No, I look forward to working with you on this issue. I think, if anything, we've really seen this as a part of our economy that has grown dramatically as a result of people's desire to be outside in the midst of COVID. I think that's going to carry forward for a number of years, and we certainly want to keep those facilities open. Mr. Palumbo, historical and projected climate changes have translated to pretty significant water supply reductions and habitat degradation in the Rio Grande Basin. Warmer conditions, decreased runoff into the Rio Grande, resulting, frankly, in a drier river every single year. The existing low-flow conveyance channel that runs alongside the Rio between Santa Acacia, New Mexico, and Elephant Butte Reservoir has been identified as a key source of water inefficiency in the Middle Rio Grande. What can we do about addressing existing river inefficiencies, such as the low-flow conveyance channel, so that we can keep more water in the main stem and protect the habitats that rely on that water?
Thank you very much, Senator, for bringing up this issue. This is an important issue for the Bureau of Reclamation. We're currently implementing several projects with the low-flow conveyance channel to remove sediment, remove plugs, improve connectivity to the Rio Grande at large. So we are focusing on this. It is important, and we have folks doing work on the ground in this area.
So it didn't take long for that entire conveyance channel to sediment up. Should we be looking at whether it was a good idea in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. The Bureau of Reclamation prides itself on adaptive management. If something doesn't work, let's not do it again. Let's figure out a way to do it better. That is also part of this program to ensure that there's other ways in which to provide the habitat, provide the flows, and get them in the right areas at the right time.
Assistant Secretary Connor, in the face of continued aridification of the West, and I use that word rather than drought because it's now a permanent dynamic, how can we better manage the Rio Grande as an interconnected system rather than a series of separate reservoirs, each with separate purposes?
It's a great question. It's the question du jour of the day because we've got to holistically use all of our infrastructure, the Bureau of Reclamation's facility, particularly in the Rio Grande Basin, the facilities that we have under the Corps of Engineers control, ABAQ, use that in tandem with Elvado and ensure that we can add to water supply. You helped put that provision in place through the last WRDA that we can expand the use of ABAQ, and that's a necessary part of the process. We've got to look also how we do flood risk reduction and how we make releases, and see if we can't coordinate with the water suppliers so that our releases aren't solely focused on flood control, that we do our job, but we operate in a way that we can help maximize water supply for other entities. And that means not just coordinating with the Bureau, but Middle Rio Grande Conservancy District, with tribes. There is a lot to do. There's a lot of capability, and it requires even better coordination than in the past.
I'm out of time, but would the Corps and BOR be willing to work with the National Academy of Sciences to study the Upper Rio Grande as a whole and come up with some management practices to keep the river wet?
Yes, we had a discussion with NAS just this week.